Hey everyone, Ashmere here for Quarantales episode 3. We've got Thomas Brown coming up, and he's been with Nuts and Bolts as a writer for about 4 months. So let's hear about how he's been handling quarantine. Hey Thomas, thanks for joining.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, how are you? First of all, where do you live? Because I feel like NBS covers the whole country, and I can't keep
Yeah,
track of where everybody is. So, where are you?
so I live in Maryland. I live in Waldorf, Maryland. So we're in Southern Maryland right here. Yep.
Okay, and how has it been there since everything started?
Okay, so when it started, it almost felt like a desert type feel. Like you could hear nothing but crickets. Um, but I think once everything started to pick up over time, we started seeing a whole lot more people rally around each other and just kind of unite around one another. So that's what I've seen over time.
Yeah. How was it when, they started these shelter in place? Because here in California, they
Yeah.
slowly opened things up and then we were able to go out for like 3 weeks or something, and then cases jumped. So has that been the same for you? I genuinely don't track too many places because I feel like I get depressed watching
Yeah.
about too many cases rise or just like, just it's a lot of bad news lately. So if you could like shed some light of how it's been in Maryland, have you guys opened back up or what's the status of everything?
So as of right now, everything's pretty much opened up. Um, but if you go to places like the mall or different like crowded areas like that, you won't see a whole lot of stores open still. But the majority of everything is practically open. We still practice our social distancing policies and everything like that. Um, so I work in a restaurant business as
Okay.
well. The dining room is now open at our spot. So um, if you can imagine how many people were surprised to hear that they could actually eat inside and eat, so that's just something I would
Yeah.
see.
How was that? Were you nervous to go back to work?
I was, but see the thing was for me was that when the whole shelter in place started, um, my hours changed obviously. So it was a hard time to kind of sit up there and settle with the fact that I'm gonna be at home all day and not do much
Mhm.
of anything. So I went around and looked for jobs that may be available during the time. And I was able to find me a little something to hold me up until everything started opening back up. So I was always working during the whole thing, and I'm very blessed to say that. But yeah, when everything started opening back up, I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah. So,
um,
well, good for you. I mean, hustling's hard. I feel like we all get it in the sports industry too, and then to also hustle in your everyday life. So, good job. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've been working from home in recruiting because I had a 9 to 5 before this. But for the living situation, like when quarantine was starting and we all had to shelter in place, like are you with your family? Because for me, it was a huge adjustment. We had 3 people working from home and we were all taking calls in the dining room. Like it was crazy. So how was it for you?
well, the I guess the good thing about me is that we're all isolated. I guess I have my room, mom has her room, and my brother has his room, and we all just have our own little squares, is what I like to
Mhm.
call it. So we all kind of isolate and spread apart in that regard. Um, shoot, and like I said, I was practically the only one that was really working during the entire thing. So there would be nights where I would just go straight to sleep. I wouldn't even do anything because it would take so long to get home from work, whatever case may be, and then you had to wake up early and just do the routine all over again. So it took a toll on me for sure. But after a while, I just started getting used to it and got better off of it. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope you are taking care of your mental health. I know during May, Nuts and Bolts was trying to do as much as we could for everybody, just making sure we were there for one another. So, I mean, what were you
Mm.
doing for your mental health during that time? Because you basically never stopped, it sounds like. We all got the chance to go home and adapt to that. So how were you taking care of your mental health?
It's funny because before this happened, my mental health was kind of like in question a little bit, if you will, in terms of, well, am I really doing enough? Is what I'm bringing to the table, is that going to help not just me but those around me? I just started thinking of stuff like that, and it affected me to a certain extent until everything started closing down, and it was a real test to see whether or not I was going to sit there and relax, or actually look and see if there was better opportunities for me. So I had to kind of brush myself off of that, and every now and again I may experience those type of hiccups, and experience those type of things. Um, but other than that, I haven't had really major issues mentally with it.
Well, good for you. I had a lot. It's good. I'm
I
really
bet.
glad to hear that you are doing well because in the beginning I was I mean, in the Bay Area, it's so concentrated. So I was just very nervous as to my environment and the people I had surrounded with the first 2 weeks of March. Yeah, it was a lot in the beginning, but now that I've been home for like 100 days, it's been something. But yeah,
Yeah.
and losing sports. Like, how have you been doing without sports, which is like our major outlet for when we kind of want to distance ourselves from real life? I can tell already you've been struggling by that expression.
I You can tell it gets very depressing hearing that we don't have sports.
Yeah.
um, like I get excited hearing the little things about the NBA returning, and knowing that the NFL may not be the same, but it still might be there, or whatever the case may be. As long as I get something on my screen that could shelter me away from reality for 60 minutes or however long, uh, I enjoy that. Um, but man, it's been challenging. But I think for us, especially nuts and bolts, it was a task that I think we all stepped up on, as far as finding different things to talk about, and come up with during this time. So I'm very proud of everybody for doing that, because I know that's a struggle.
So, do you believe the NBA is really going to return at the end of this month?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
But there's a caveat. I do think that with not just the cases in Orlando, but with the amount of NBA players that are starting to catch it, I that's eye opening to me, because as I'm seeing more stars that would be a part of the bubble, guys like Bradley Beal or Avery Bradley, guys who play an integral part in their teams, them not being available for the restart, I think plays a major factor than people give it credit for. Um, so that's something that I would look at, in terms of the restart. But I think it will happen though, for sure.
Uh, I was kind of hoping it wasn't. I was excited because I do want sports back as a fan, but I was watching The Jump the other
Yeah.
day, and Scottie Pippen made a great point talking about how we don't know the long-term effects of COVID, and if players do contract it and they overcome it, are they going to have some type of health issues in the future, right? Because it compromises your blood and all these scientific
Yeah.
things. So it's just it's like I feel selfish wanting it to come back, but then I don't want to stop the league or expect them to stop. But it's a weird limbo to be in for sure. And then have you been seeing the meals that they've been serving them in the bubble?
I saw it yesterday.
It looks
I'm like,
like
y'all
what we used
really
to get
eating
on the
that?
airplane. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. It If it fills them up, I guess. But just by looking at it though, like that, those are meals that they have to stay. contingent with the entire rest of the way. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Um, so that's another thing too. Like some of these players, they spent the entire off season before the season even started, whether it was putting on muscle, or putting on more weight, or losing weight, or whatever the case may be. Then this happens, and then they get the food they see there, they're like, "This is not helping. It's
Totally.
not
No, I
helping."
agree.
Yeah. So I don't
And I
know.
know
We'll see.
I know some people were taking time to, work at home on their game, and then
Yeah.
they were doing it by themselves, and then different facilities were shut down. So I just think I feel like there's a lot more bad news coming than good news, and I just wanted more good news.
Right.
So what about for the NFL? Do you believe they'll be able to safely return?
I think it would, but I know I have a crazy feeling what's going to happen. Okay,
Okay,
I
share it.
feel I feel like there's going to be that one star player that gets it,
Mhm.
and we look at that person and we go, wow, that's a huge part of that offense, or a huge part of that defense, or just a huge part of that team, and we may look at it and be like, okay, well, they're going to be fine, until you realize that they'll end up being together. So if one person gets it, then maybe the rest of the offense may contract it. Now we gotta go with backups the whole rest of the way. We may
Sure.
never know. So I'm looking at things like that. But I think that the NFL would handle its procedures carefully, and we'll be able to start out hopefully. I hope
Yeah,
so.
I believe if they I know. I believe I mean, I put a post yesterday about the number of times they're testing NBA players and MLB
Yeah.
players. There's like constant testing going on. So for the NFL, I think I think if they have a different way of going about that, maybe it'll be safer. I just feel like there's a lot of unknown, right? Because certain states opened up, those locations had players that contracted it, right? Because by law, they're allowed to go outside again. And so I think that was a
Right.
reason I don't think that helped with any stages of opening. So it's crazy. I think 2020 is like when they write about it in history books, I'm gonna read whoever wrote, because I don't think there's enough words to explain what we've gone through in 7 months.
Man, I tell people all the time, whoever's going to be the history teachers within the next 10 years, and y'all want to go over the 2000s, y'all do that, okay? As soon as 2020 comes up, you skip over a year,
Yeah.
because there'll be a lot to cover.
Yeah, totally. Well, what are you looking forward to, I guess, for the remainder of the year? What are some things that you maybe got going for yourself or with nuts and bolts? Like what can we expect from Thomas?
So, I think this is the platform to do it. I I think I will let everybody know on a little secret. Okay, today's July 8th, correct?
Yep.
Okay. In 4 days' time, yours truly will be 19. Okay.
Ugh.
So I plan on doing a little celebrating. Okay. Hopefully, don't cost me 15 yards. But um, I plan on doing a little celebrating, and then getting a little bit more rest than usual, because I took a little bit time off for the next week or so. But I also plan on being a part of uh, the new show that's coming up for the football writers, as far as the No Huddle Necessary show. I look forward to being a part of that sooner rather than later. Um, and I'm actually working on another article right now, in regards to Miles Sanders and the predictions for him. Because, like I said, I'm only going with predictions because I can't go with anything else right now. Um, but yeah, I'm working on that as we speak. So as soon as we get that out the way, we'll try to work on different things like that and just go from there.
Cool. Well, that sounds exciting. I know no huddle necessary will be fun. I'm actually really hyped for that to start.
Man.
So yeah. So where can everybody follow you on your socials? I just threw up the nuts and bolts handle so everybody could check that out and the website, of course.
Okay. Well, let's see. Um, if you want to follow my Instagram, it is underscore twice. Twice. Okay. Some people mess that up. All right. Terrific Tom. Okay. You'll see me on there. I have some of the articles posted up there on my page there. You can find that on there. Um, my Twitter, I'm not really on it like that as much as I would like to, but I plan on changing that very soon. Uh, the same handle there as well. So that's the Twitter, that's the Instagram. So if you would like to hit me up with anything Eagles related or just anything on nuts and bolts, period, you can find me there. You can talk to me there. I'm always open. Maybe not 24/7 like Waffle House, but I'll make sure I'm available. So there we go.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for coming on here with me. I appreciate it. I love learning about your hustle. I'm really like proud of you. 19 and dang, wish I was 19.
Man, when you get
But
my
yeah,
age, you'll understand.
well, take care and stay safe. And, we'll definitely talk again soon on No Huddle.
I know, right? Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Bye.